is because it went for me. Obviously got things to have. We put my music on the radio, the studio, to knowing and recognizing that anime such as One Piece, New Gray Man, animes I haven't seen, Cowboy Bebop, Lupin the Third, did not matter. Literally, at some point when I knew that I was gonna win, in my head, when I had the anime and I obviously had the music, and I obviously had Karen from Boy Scouts, and I had so much other Can't Cope, Won't Cope, and all these other things that were still good. That's why J.N. Georgia season 3 was shit. And that's when I recognized that just like Full Metal Alchemist, everybody has their own view, their own show with their own crime and their own debt. All right, it's not cool. All right, so what you need to know is that those things, Lily. Oh, Lily, I'm being Chris. That's the reality show. Lily, I'm being everyone to clean the well. I got the Black Clover on deck. I don't have to keep up with any anime. Lily, that was true. Literally, it was the reason why that it was so really true was because I was really glamorous and dreamy. All right, literally, I was physically strong. I can physically perform the task. And what you don't want to understand, I don't know if it's a statement for a podcast, really, but where little brother says, "I'll stop on your feet," the older brother, I've learned, through time, can actually perform the things that are in your head due to not only going to a blood meeting, but playing things such as sports, literally working on thighs, literally that can perfectly execute the plan that's in your head. Literally, that's the reason why it's so vicious and devastating, okay? Literally, what ended up happening with the older brother is that literally, when you got stuck in the hood, you had to take care of him, literally, in the toilet, literally, and after Uncle Tiny specifically asked you, literally, to clear up the hairs, all right? Literally, what happened? Was now everything is being applied to the point where he calls out literally that you didn't watch every One Piece episode. Ooh, yeah, yeah. That back when you do, One Piece, left to right, back and forth, it's true. It's very important, and we ride back to those days and start being dreadful. I start thinking about everything lately, and then people started getting worse, making secrets and saying, if you watch those specific episodes of One Piece, you're retarded, and then they start really making, government regulation. And, what happened in the studio is people like Vanessa and other people went off the tangent trying to kill me. Even Rihanna parted ways with Vanessa if you didn't know. But to me, it's laughable because in the reality show, if you know the whole story, that I actually gave the girl, an episode of Foster's that had a punk rocker, a heavy death metal rocker, literally, as soon as I began Polka, and Polka almost won with the MTV episode about Hero Academia when they're chilling on the beach, okay? Literally, so, and that's what I did to all the characters, and it was funny. And what you do is you trap me literally in I'll think the name is a sperm cell, but somebody that can't mate with other human. I don't know, something that has to do with stem cells. It's really really lame. But anyway, you have pull multiple people, literally nerds that work corporate that couldn't get laid, literally to have all these different things with all these different girls to award them all these different ways. All right, so it's true. And when all this literally really got applied, literally was their first year when I was 27 in 2022. I had all those versus battles were gone. All right. That's when literally I remember the first fight with Chris, literally at the group home, literally when I hit him, I referenced Luffy, did literally that year when I was young, when I had everything confirmed with Nokia, this is Giovanni. I'm like, that's why he copied One Piece, not Dragon Ball Z, and it was awesome, literally, and literally a truth in the core and the bare minimum, all right? Literally, so there's two songs, I couldn't play it for the Sean Schimmel that we might have to, rewind that for, all right? I don't want to sound crazy, but I did play off Common Sense the whole time. I only had sprinkled the validation, really. I reached out to extra people, and that Kith could be a Mandela effect from Acid Gear. So if you don't know, literally, I pulled the Mandela in the hood because I was training with Jasmine. What I do is I did the Da Vinci Code, literally, while I was in the hood. So Mandela is where I got stuck in. So Mandela could be what we're all stuck in right now due to a studio requirement. Okay, that's this one. All right, so you got to think about it. When you came through with the rhymes, and we all know that the rhymes are there ever since I was younger. All right, colonies started tearing apart. World War II started happening again. When they say 1812 on Mr. Young, you're really not playing. I saw John's knife. It wasn't cool, but you need to know something, okay? What got brought down back to those days is where it became a serious situation. I kept on being straight. Courtney, James, and Robert kept on getting, more paperwork. Everything kept on being unstable and unbalanced. Literally, um, you need to recognize that I play off common sense all the time. When I had those two girls fight each other in the movie theater, when I was the guy who preferred Dragon Balls to the stadium, I moved my eyes back and forth like Goku, all right? So it was true. I had all that shit confirmed, but, the being of this video is to say, be informed that, I'm being multi-dimensional when it comes to shit. When I thought about Sunny intensely when I was in the group home because, I needed Vaseline. That's the sequence that you always need. And white people say, you need twice as much Vaseline. This, that. I need more Vaseline if I'm white. Literally, it's true. I can't, think about the times, literally, I counted how many times that literally, Lord Serenth literally knew what he was on YouTube when Spy Kage said the top five people he had most in Naruto. The two I spent the most back when I was in sophomore in high school. 1010 and Kabuto. First off, 1010. See was sucking the G up like a vacuum. I see that every time I'm watching Pluto TV. Literally, and Kabuto's actually a raw class because outside out of going naked for the dude. He actually has a cool, interesting moveset. But what people don't understand is that that's what I was doing now when I originally copied off Big Boy. All right? But guess what happened? I eventually got Shan. I eventually started dancing with Shan. That's Kabuto. It's true. It's very true. And complete true. That was my journey, literally. And white people got mad because they wanted to put images on something. I'm like, bruh, I only went outside naked one time. Literally, if I want to get my stuff in the store, I get my stuff in the store. Literally, and then I got less death there, mess. I did literally the shit that I said, Robert's grandma literally stopped where I was ahead. Literally, then I got to live full life. Want to know why? Because I didn't hold on to their shit that, other people, and white people don't hold on to. Literally, I held on to my own shit and then anime rewarded me in my own journey. When people like the Arrow and jokes that everybody abused anime. That's what I knew about anime is that the Arrow abused anime because it was a pure fucking substance. And they're saying, we know more than the creator. We can use it for our area, whatever we want. Literally, we're fucking sick from Toy Story. Literally, all that shit. It was fucking funny. It was fucking hilarious. That's the truth behind this shit. Literally, then I got to grow up. Literally, as Sonny literally said, "Motherfucker, I'm Ulrich." It's true. And and with Yumi being there as a mascot, literally people like Fergie, Will I Am, Chingy Lucas, other celebrities who don't put out the thing. I actually saw the BET Awards this year, and it mentioned me, but I can tell one person was fucking dead because I knew what Bloods were playing. The game of Bloods Pool is that we're dead in order to fucking stop the crip. And it happened to one of my recent girlfriends. Literally. So back when I was a crip, I saw Katabi. I knew they were using the same jutsu, but what happened? You got me comfortable. Literally, when he called me a crackhead, and I was fucking all those girls. Literally, guess what happened? Literally, my whole life got put at stake. I couldn't be in control of your own life. Now, guess what happens? I hear people literally fucking girls that I fucked over down policemen. Literally saying you can't do this to air shit. You can't do that. Literally, we have to evaluate you first. To me, seeing physical death in my house, like all this bigger around isn't that step in depth for happening. It's true. But I'm glad that I got God. Right now I got God on my side, and it's really really dreadful. So I'm just gonna cut this video short.